Today, I actually put on the internet where I would be, and I'm not worried that people that might disagree with me would show up because I've never met anybody that had the courage to confront me in person so far.
So it's happening.
No, I don't mean chess players.
It's happening.
I mean what I put on my vlogs. And this guy's trying to participate in my vlogs for the first time. Anyways, no, he's my chess sensei, and I appreciate him very much. But I'll finish this subject here, and then we'll set up these big pieces here that are free for us to use on the floor. And, we have to do our stretching exercises first and everything. So I'll walk this way to focus and come back, and I'll be finished when I come back here. So the subject of work industries part 2, but I'll just give it the next number from the one I just posted. And this is like I just spoke to a French person that I met for the first time at the place where I took a free shower. And what she's studying in school right now and what her work is, and her being a mom and her being from Quebec. Is we talked about Céline Dion, which I recently wrote about again. And we talked about the French word for accountability, which I gave her, and I told her how important it is to share that. And it's an example of what I just spoke about. Let's say public servants that work for the federal government, and let's say they either translate French to English or English to French, and the French word for accountability is redevabilité, to be accountable, être redevable. And of course she didn't know because, pretty much 99% of Quebecers don't know. And when Premier Legault said it on TV at the first year of COVID, there was nobody to challenge him on it. And if there was, there'd be the laissez-faire hypocrisy and there'd be no challenge, right? So let's say you want to raise the salaries of public servants and they're a translator and they write responsabilité for accountability and then back to what? Responsabilité back to responsibility, then you're devolving the culture because it's a key civilization word, although I've never met a real civilization. I've never seen or heard about a measurable, stable proto-civilization. So, of course, Quebec is definitely not one. But when you use the wrong word for something as important as the foundational word, let's say there's 4 foundational words of a real civilization, accountability would be one. And it would be talked about and used at multiple levels of education and employment. And it would be explained, let's say in 3 steps. Oh, you want to take this job? Here's how we define it. And then there would be these consequences. But there's also these measurements that you can do well and you learn and you keep getting better. Oh yeah, I'll accept the job. I like that salary. Let's say somebody says. And then suddenly they don't do that great. They're provided feedback and they don't change. Then third would be consequences, okay, and not impunity, which is not the same thing, right? So it would be accountable is, okay, well, we had this agreement and you were given these opportunities to apply what was well-defined, and here's the consequences. And if you argue or your union argues, yeah, you're going to keep devolving the culture. But again, that doesn't even happen, the concept of accountability or redevabilité. So again, measure translators, what they're doing. Do research at how this is lost. By the way, the translator that first told me that word and the word impunity in French, but not sure what it was because it wasn't used that much in translation, and I looked it up, and it's part of the opposite, because accountability is big. It's part of the opposite of accountability, impunity. It's part of it. It's not the entire definition of the complexity of accountability. So if they fail at this, then you're losing language, which is kind of important. You're losing agreements, you're losing law, you're using human rights, you're losing everything related to what is good that we think we already have in our species when we don't, and we don't even want to talk about how it's getting worse. So that is an example. And the translator that told it to me kind of forgot over the years, but didn't look it up after, kind of gave up on it because her industry didn't require it for the paycheck to come in. And this is how money supersedes, replaces, the cults of money replaces the concepts of the cores of what is a civilization. Oh, he's so nice. He set it up already. Didn't want to see if I would get it right. So anyways, thank you very much for this. And yes, it's sad what's happening to Céline Dion, but Quebec culture still has to have the conversations about what was done to her, even if it was her choice to do so as a young child to be with this older man. You've got to talk about this if you want la redevabilité to come back to your culture and maybe someday aspire to be a French-speaking, stable proto-civilization.